The security guard shoved him so hard that his small frame nearly toppled onto the marble steps outside the bank. People stopped, some staring, some laughing, most walking past like it was nothing. To them, he was just a ragged boy who didn't belong inside a place where fortunes were measured in gold. But what no one realized, what not even the arrogant bank manager knew, was that the boy was no beggar. He was the son of the wealthiest man in town. And by the end of the day, the truth would shake the very walls of that bank. The boy's name was Aarav. He was 12 years old, slim, with sharp eyes that carried a mix of innocence and quiet pride. But today, his clothes betrayed him, torn at the elbows, dusty from the long walk, shoes worn thin. He hadn't come to the bank to beg. He had come for help. That morning, Aarav had sneaked out of his home. Not the mansion on the hill where chandeliers glowed, but the small house where his nanny, Meera, raised him whenever his father traveled for business. His father, Raj Malhotra, was a millionaire, a tycoon with properties across the city. But Aarav wasn't treated like royalty. His father wanted him to know humility, to understand life beyond wealth. Sometimes, Raj even sent him to live simply, away from luxury, so he wouldn't grow spoiled. Aarav respected that, but today, the world tested him in ways he hadn't expected. Meera had fallen sick. She was more than a caretaker, she was the only motherly figure he had ever known since his own mother had died young. Aarav adored her. That morning, she struggled to breathe, whispering, "The medicine, we can't afford it this week." Aarav's chest tightened. He knew his father would pay in an instant, but Raj was away in London. And the hospital demanded cash. Desperate, Aarav decided to walk to the city's biggest bank. He had seen his father's name on their banners. Surely, if he explained who he was, they would help until his father returned. But the moment he entered the grand lobby, the whispers began. "Whose child is this? Look at his clothes, where's the beggar's bowl? He must be lost." The boy walked up to the manager's desk. "Sir," he said softly, "I need help. My name is Aarav Malhotra. My father has an account here." The manager cut him off with a scowl. "We don't entertain liars here. Out." Aarav tried again. "Please, Meera is sick. I only need a little." The guard grabbed his arm. "I said out," and just like that, he was shoved onto the steps, the heavy doors slamming behind him. Tears stung Aarav's eyes, but he didn't cry. He clenched his fists instead, whispering, "One day, they'll see." But what happened next was unexpected. An older man sitting by the roadside, an actual beggar, watched it all. He called Aarav over. "You're not like me, are you?" he said gently. Aarav sat beside him, ashamed. "They thought I was lying. But my father, he's Raj Malhotra." The beggar chuckled softly. "Life's funny. To them, you look like me. And to me, you look like hope. Don't be ashamed, boy. People judge what they see, not what they don't understand." Aarav listened, his young heart absorbing every word. By evening, Raj Malhotra returned from his trip. He rushed to Meera's side, immediately arranging her treatment. When Aarav told him about the bank, about the insults, Raj's eyes darkened with anger. "Tomorrow," Raj said firmly, "we'll go back together." The next morning, the chauffeur dropped them at the same bank. Aarav wore the same tattered clothes, his father insisted. He wanted everyone to see the truth for themselves. Raj walked behind him, unnoticed at first, while Aarav entered the lobby. Again, whispers began. The same guard frowned. "Not you again." But this time, Raj Malhotra's voice thundered across the hall. "Touch him again, and you'll never work in this city." The room froze. The millionaire himself stepped forward, his presence commanding silence. Gasps erupted. The manager stumbled out from his office, bowing nervously. "Mr. Malhotra, we didn't know this boy was my son." Raj cut in, his voice sharp. He placed a hand on Aarav's shoulder. "You threw my son onto the street because of his clothes. You judged his worth by what he looked like. Is this the kind of institution you run?" The manager stammered excuses, sweat beading on his forehead. Raj's voice softened, but carried weight. "Remember this. True wealth is not in your vaults. It's in how you treat people. You mistook my son for a beggar, but what if it had been a real beggar? Would his life matter less?" The words struck everyone silent. Even Aarav, standing tall beside his father, felt the truth echo inside him. The following week, Raj withdrew a large portion of his accounts from that bank, donating instead to community hospitals and shelters, places where people like Meera, and the beggar by the roadside, would never be turned away. As for Aarav, He carried that day in his heart forever. The humiliation, the lesson, and the pride of standing beside his father when truth was spoken. And whenever people asked him years later why he chose to run charities alongside his business empire, he would smile and say, "Because once, they mistook me for a beggar. And I learned that sometimes, life disguises its richest lessons in rags."